a superhero fighting game that lives in the bargain bin. What up everybody, welcome to the channel. I am your host Mike Fury and I make informative videos just like this one, so please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And with that being said guys, here is my review for Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. The story of Injustice revolves around a couple of simple concepts and a couple of not so simple ones. The simple ones are what happens if Joker one day decides, you know what, I'ma go too far. I'ma cross this huge line. And the other one that's not really so, let's say, simple, if Superman went absolute ape. The answer is Joker would end up dying and Superman would become a dictator of godly proportions, thus forcing Batman to call upon other heroes from another universe to help out with the situation. The story plays out like a Mortal Kombat story of recent years, works as a tutorial for most of the characters, as almost all of the Mortal Kombat stories do, and it's fun, it's enjoyable, it has a lot of really cool moments, and by far it is way better than Joss Whedon's Justice League cut.
Green Arrow, what was that? Thunder of the Gods, Flash. Thunder of the Gods. Don't hit him.
So let's talk about the look of the game. This is indeed a last gen 2.5D fighter. Instead of a 3D, it's not really 3D, and it's not a 2D fighter, but it's a 2.5D fighter. So graphically, like I said, last gen, it will show its age if I'm being honest. Textures and colors are going to be a bit rough sometimes, but overall it actually has aged pretty well. Heroes, villains show great amount of detail in various costumes. Levels and stages look amazing still to this day, especially Arkham and Metropolis, the former housing different types of villains from Gotham and the other having these two huge giants, these huge these meta humans duking it out in the background. They look so good. When you ring someone out in Gotham, some of the villains get a piece of the action and it looks awesome. And the same thing happens with Metropolis as well. Ring someone out and then you see these giants actually participate. It is so cool and I really like it, even though, like I said, this is 8 years old. It really is pretty old. So at the end of the day, the evolution of the 2.5D fighter that has been NetherRealm's forte for the last, maybe, like I said, 8 years, it looks good still to this day, regardless of, you know, the little hiccups here and there. Looks a bit rough here and there, but for the most part, it gets the job done and it looks good. And it's probably not as good as current fighters, but pretty good nonetheless.
So many lives lost because I held back when I should have used all my power.
For what? To control? To oppress?
I could have prevented Metropolis, saved my family.
Crime took my family too, Clark.
If you weren't the gun.
Now, audio-wise, this is where WB throws the money. Warner Brothers throws the money at NetherRealm. It's like, hey, get everybody you need to make sure that this bad boy sounds absolutely amazing. So of course we have a star-studded cast. From Troy Baker as Sinestro, because why not? And Nolan North as General Zod. Then you go to Carrie P, who's literally the voice of Cyborg, and will be the voice of Cyborg till the end of time. This is the quintessential Cyborg. And of course, the shining star of the show would be Kevin Conroy as Batman. Each and every single character sounds the way that we imagined they would, or the way that we remember them. The music, it's epic, it's grandiose, and it definitely gets the job done. No tracks stood out here and there. Usually, for some reason, I love video game music sometimes, and I'll download them, but sometimes some tracks just don't stand out, and I won't download them. That doesn't mean that the soundtrack itself is bad. So that's the same case in this case. The soundtrack isn't bad at all. It's actually pretty good, but I didn't download any music. So during combat, you will definitely hear a lot of nice detail and solid sound work, from the basic punches, kicks, and combos to the different special moves like lasers, batarangs, and even the ring outs. Overall, the game audio was good. So let's talk about the meat and potatoes, let's talk about the combat, let's talk about the fights. Now this is a NetherRealm Studios fighter. If you've played a Mortal Kombat game in the last I don't know how many years, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. This time only with superheroes. So it's as follows. It follows the same rules as Mortal Kombat. You have 2 fighters, each with their own movesets. Use their movesets to beat your opponent. Best 2 out of 3 wins. Now in Injustice, there is a roster of 24 characters. It's not the biggest, but it makes up for it with how different each and every single character is. There's also brand new mechanics that are unique to Injustice. For example, each and every single character has a special. Each one of these specials is kind of like an activatable power. For example, even though Batman doesn't have powers, he has this ability to put 3 batarangs hovering around him, and these batarangs can be used in different ways. So you can use them offensively, chain up some combos, and then add the batarangs and make them kind of swarm the enemy, and therefore unlocking massive damage. Or you can use them defensively. A character getting too close, activate your power, and then hit it again, have them whirl around you, and that will knock your opponent up. It is super cool, and all of these powers all have a very nice cooldown, so make sure to use them wisely. I also love the fact that a lot of these powers are also unique. For example, Wonder Woman can switch styles. She could go from lasso offense to sword and shield defense. You have Superman, who could get a buff and ignore armor. You have Green Arrow with multiple arrow types. Nightwing could turn his batons into a staff, and so much more. And of course, the best, by far the best mechanic that they added to Injustice was the clash mechanic, which in the best case scenarios is used as a trump card to kind of even the odds a little bit. It's not really a get out of jail free card, but it's more of a, hey, I'm losing, let me see if I could turn the tide around. And it's a pretty dope mechanic if done properly. Sometimes you just don't have it and they'll activate it just to take a loss. So it's kind of like a gamble, but at the same time, it's really cool to see this clash, and then it explodes. Whoever wins or bets more wins, and you get either a huge amount of health regain or a huge amount of damage dealt. There's also tons of nice details and intricacies to combat. You'll have plenty of time to hone your skills because Injustice has a huge list of game modes and challenges. You have Star Lab missions for you and your favorite characters, and that's without even mentioning versus and online. There's unlockable music, concept art, portraits, backgrounds for heroes and your hero card, and much more. Injustice does not lack content. Gameplay is awesome, as expected from a NetherRealm fighter. Now let's go into DLC. As per usual, this is a NetherRealm fighter, so as you know, you will get a fighter pack. Now, from this fighter pack, we got 6 different fighters: Martian Manhunter, Lobo, General Zod, Batgirl, Zatanna, and of course, you need a Mortal Kombat character in this, Scorpion. We also get a plethora of different skins from all the combatants based on comic book events, in other mediums. Of course, you have Arkham Asylum Batman, that costume. We have Jonathan Stewart Green Lantern, Killing Joke Joker, and of course, Cyborg Superman, because why not? You also have 60 plus, like I mentioned earlier. They added 60 star missions unlocked from the start. This is part of the Ultimate Edition. Usually you got to unlock these by playing them. You have them all unlocked from the start, which is pretty cool, awesome, and it brings this roster to about $30. And of course it adds, like I said, some content and some cosmetics. And I really was impressed by the fact that they got a Lobo in there and a Martian Manhunter. Like I was like, wow, that right there is awesome. I'm happy that they went so diverse and picked some characters that aren't really part of the, you know, the mainstream and a lot of people don't really love. Like Martian Manhunter, like I was hyped to see him in the movie. Now let's talk about the negatives. Characters' super moves should have more variety and be more epic. Some of them are good here and there, but then some of them are just so boring. Now, I did not mention this earlier. Some superpowers or traits, or however you want to call them, are a little bit more copycat-ish for other ones, like certain buffs. They kind of just resemble certain buffs. Shazam's Thunderballs are really reminiscent to Batman's Batarangs, and so on and so forth. They could be a little bit more creative as well. Cutscenes capped at 30 FPS. I don't know why. So if you're experiencing a little bit of stutter here and there, it's because they capped the cutscenes. It's just weird. I don't understand why they did this and why they didn't just patch this. Now here's a weird thing. There's so much destruction in the background of some of these stages, but the audio never represents this. It's just drones, car exploding, buildings collapsing, even freaking giants fighting in the background. You don't hear any of this, which I find to be my biggest gripe with the audio. Like I said, it was good. I didn't say that it was absolutely amazing, but it's so weird the fact that all of these things are happening in the background and we never get to hear them. And also, this might not be the biggest gripe. It's just a personal gripe. Don't count this as a negative. But I hate the person who voices Billy Bastion. I find his voice of Shazam completely irritating. I was like, he sounds like a child. He shouldn't be sounding like a child like that, especially when he's in his Captain Marvel form. And finally, I have to say this, the story is only like around 4 hours. In conclusion, Injustice: Gods Among Us is an excellent fighter with a unique cast of characters, superheroes, villains, Superman, Batman, Joker, all of those great, amazing DC characters, and then add to that the amazing ring outs, the awesome stages, the super moves, and of course NetherRealm's innovation. And then the best part about all of this is that you can find it dirt cheap in the bargain bin for like around $4 to $5. Absolutely spectacular. The final score for Injustice: Gods Among Us, depending on how you pay, this might be low, this might be high, it all depends, but I'm going with an 8 out of 10. Has great content, has, like I said, dirt cheap, great content, a great amount of things to do after you're done with the 4 to 5 hour-ish story, and it's just an excellent fighter. I don't think NetherRealms is like capable of making a bad fighter, not with that amount of experience at least. But let's go ahead and answer the 3 questions, shall we? Is it fun? Is it worth it? And is it for you? Is it fun? It's awesome. If you like fighting games, if you enjoy Injustice, if you like DC, and if you like Mortal Kombat, this is right up your alley. Yes, it's very enjoyable. The combos, the characters, the different skins, and the amount of information that the game gives you pertaining to said characters, even after the fact, after the fights, that is absolutely awesome. Now, is it worth it? Like I mentioned earlier, $5. The cheapest you can find it, at least that's the cheapest I've seen it at. $5, $4 for the Ultimate Edition. That's a steal in my personal opinion. And finally, is it for you? If you have brothers and multiple controllers and you like beating them up, grab them. Not in real life, but if you like beating them up in video games, grab it. It's fun. It's a great time. The story will keep you entertained. If you like cinematic stories, if you like any types of old Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat 11 XL or anything, even though Mortal Kombat 11 is old, but point is, if you like fighters, if you like fighter stories, if you like action-packed stories, this is right up your alley. Best part is that this story is actually based on a comic book, or more or less they have it combined with a comic book. But point is, it is great. And that is it for today, guys. Tell me what you guys think about Injustice. Have you played it? Have you not played it? Will you eventually play it now that you know that it's in the bargain bin almost forever? Like, legit, anytime there's a sale, look for it. I found a mistake, right now it's at $4 to $5 on the PlayStation Store. But anyways, guys, tell me what you guys think of Injustice. Have you played it? Have you not played it? Have you played Injustice 2, which will be the next one I review? But let me know down in the comment section below. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and make sure to hit the notification bell. I post videos out daily. And You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, links down in the description below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting me there. $1 a day keeps the landlord away. I'm your host, Mike Fury. It's been a complete pleasure. Until next time, Mike, off.